File declassified. That's how this video works. Each section is a classified file, opened for the first time. Mission, objective, what actually happened. These are the special operations that changed the course of history. And most of them you've never heard of in full detail. File 001, Operation Anthropoid, 1942. Target, Reinhard Heydrich, Nazi protector of Bohemia and Moravia. Described by Hitler himself as the man with the iron heart. Architect of the final solution, one of the most dangerous men in Europe. Two Czech soldiers, Josef Gabčík and Jan Kubiš, were trained by the British SOE. Parachuted into occupied Czechoslovakia in December 1941. They spent months living in the occupied country, building local contacts. May 27, 1942, a curve in the road in Prague where Heydrich's car would have to slow down. Gabčík stepped in front of the car and pulled the trigger. His Sten gun jammed. Heydrich, rather than driving away, stood up in the open car to return fire. Kubiš threw an adapted anti-tank grenade. It exploded near the car. Heydrich was wounded, not immediately killed. But fragments from the explosion, including horsehair from the car's seat, caused fatal septicemia. He died June 4, 1942, the highest-ranking Nazi official to be assassinated during the entire war. Gabčík and Kubiš were eventually cornered by SS forces in a Prague church. They fought for 6 hours before taking their own lives rather than be captured. They had done what they were sent to do. File 002, Operation Entebbe, 1976. Target, 106 hostages held at Entebbe Airport, Uganda. Air France Flight 139 had been hijacked by Palestinian and German militants. Diverted to Uganda, whose president Idi Amin was sympathetic to the hijackers. Non-Jewish hostages were released. 106 Israeli and Jewish passengers remained. Israel's options: negotiate with terrorists, which they refused on principle, or act. Operation Thunderbolt was planned in 1 week. Israeli commandos flew 2,500 miles in 4 Hercules transport aircraft. They landed at night without announcing themselves to Ugandan air traffic control. The lead aircraft taxied toward the terminal behind a black Mercedes, identical to the one Idi Amin used. Ugandan guards assumed it was a presidential motorcade. The assault on the terminal took 90 seconds. All 7 hijackers were killed. 103 of the 106 hostages were rescued. 3 hostages died during the operation. 1 Israeli soldier was killed, Lieutenant Colonel Yonatan Netanyahu, older brother of Benjamin Netanyahu. Total time on the ground at Entebbe, 53 minutes. Israel had conducted a successful hostage rescue 2,500 miles from home, in an hour, against armed militants with a national army as backup. The hostage rescue playbook used by every special forces unit in the world today was written at Entebbe. File 003, the Long-Range Desert Group, which target German supply lines and airfields across North Africa. This file covers a unit most people have never heard of. Small teams of British soldiers in heavily modified trucks, operating deep in the Libyan desert, hundreds of miles behind German lines. Their specialty: finding things Germany didn't want found. They located Rommel's supply depots, counted aircraft on German airfields, guided the SAS, a related unit, to precise targets for raids. The Long-Range Desert Group covered over 150,000 miles of desert during Wuyu fight. They lost very few men, because they moved through territory Germany believed was impassable. The desert was their invisibility cloak. Intelligence gathered by the LRDG allowed Allied commanders to understand exactly what Rommel had, and what he didn't have. When you know your enemy's fuel reserves to the gallon, tactical planning becomes dramatically easier. They won their part of the war with maps and careful driving. File 004, Operation Neptune Spear, 2011. Target: Osama bin Laden, Abbottabad, Pakistan. We are going to stick to confirmed public facts. May 1st, 2011. 2 Black Hawk helicopters and supporting aircraft approached a compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. On board, members of SEAL Team 6, officially Naval Special Warfare Development Group. 1 helicopter experienced unexpected aerodynamic conditions near the compound wall and made a hard landing. The operators inside were uninjured. The assault continued. 38 minutes from first breach to departure. Bin Laden was killed on the third floor of the main building. His body was transported and later buried at sea. President Obama watched the operation in real time from the Situation Room. The confirmation words transmitted from the team back to Washington. Forgotten country, Geronimo. 38 minutes. Nearly a decade of intelligence work, hundreds of analysts, multiple satellite programs. All of it executed in 38 minutes. What special operations changed? Every file in this video shares a common thread. Small units, precise intelligence, decisive speed. Special operations exist because there are moments in warfare when conventional armies, large, slow, bureaucratic, cannot move fast enough. Operation Anthropoid needed 2 men, not 2 divisions. Entebbe needed 100 commandos, not a carrier strike group. The long-range desert group needed modified trucks and navigators, not tank battalions. The 21st century version of this thinking, small, precise, intelligence-driven, has become the dominant model of Western military intervention. Not because large armies became obsolete, but because the problems requiring military solutions increasingly require a surgical blade rather than a sledgehammer. The files keep being opened. The missions keep running. Most of them you'll never read about. Subscribe to Battlepedia for the history that doesn't usually make the history books. Hit the bell so you never miss one. And drop a comment. Which mission surprised you most? I read everyone. See you next week. File 005, Operation Chariot, 1942, the St. Nazaire Raid. March 28, 1942, the coast of occupied France. The German battleship Tirpitz was operational in Norwegian waters. If she moved to the Atlantic, she could devastate Allied convoys. The only dry dock on the Atlantic coast large enough to repair her was at Saint-Nazaire, France. British combined operations came up with a plan so audacious that planners initially refused to present it. Ram an old American destroyer, HMS Campbelltown, packed with delayed action explosives, directly into the dock gates. At night, through a heavily defended harbor entrance, with 611 British commandos, against German shore batteries that could sink them before they arrived. The Campbelltown rammed the dock gates at 1:34 a.m. Commandos poured ashore and spent 2 hours destroying dock machinery and equipment before withdrawing. Most didn't make it back to Britain, but the delayed charges in the Campbelltown's bow detonated the next morning, taking the dock gates with them and the German inspection party touring the ship at the time. The St. Nazaire dry dock was put out of operation for the remainder of the war. The Tirpitz never entered the Atlantic. She was eventually sunk by RAF bombers in a Norwegian fjord in 1944, never having engaged the Allied fleet she was built to destroy. One-night raid, 1 old destroyer, 5 tons of explosives. One of the most important naval decisions of Entebbe, made impossible. 89 of the 611 men who went in received decorations for the raid. It remains the highest decoration density for a single operation in British military history. One-night raid, 1 old destroyer, 5 tons of explosives. One of the most important naval decisions of Entebbe, made impossible. 89 of the 611 men who went in received decorations for the raid. It remains the highest decoration density for a single operation in British military history.